song is written by Arlo, Guthries. It's called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant. That's just the name of the song. That's why he called the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. And it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago, so 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice don't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the bow tower with her husband Ray and Francho the dog. And living up in the bow tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. And having all that room, seeing as now they've taken out all the pews, they decided they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. We got up there, we found all the garbage there. We decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took the half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed toward the city dump. Well, we got there. There's a big sign and a chain across the dump saying closed on Thanksgiving. Now, we'd never heard of a dump closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one till we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage. We decided that one big pile is better than 2 small piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. That's what we did, and we drove back to the church, had ourselves a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up till the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obed. He said, "Kid, we found an envelope with your name on it at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage, and we was just wondering if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obey, I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." After speaking to Obey for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter and said that we had to go down and pick up the garbage, and also had to speak to him at the police station. So we got in the red VW microbus with the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction and headed toward the police station. Now, friends, there was only 1 or 2 things that Obie could have done at the police station. The first thing was that he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely and we didn't expect it. And another thing was that he could have bawled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer's station, there was a third possibility that we ain't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I said, "Obie, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the patrol car." That's what we did. Sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, "scene of the crime," unquote. I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this happened here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers, 3 police cars, and being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody was wanting to get in a newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police station. They took plaster tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one wants to be used in evidence against us. Took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, southwest corner, and that's not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, we went back to the jail. We said he's gonna put us in the cell. I said, "Kid, I'm gonna put you in the cell. I want your wallet in your belt." And I said, "Obie, I can understand you wanting my ballot, so I don't spend any money in the South. But what you want my ballot for? I said, kid, we don't want any hangings. I said, Obie, do you think I was gonna hang myself for littering? Obie said he was just making sure. Friends Obie was, just Obie took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. And he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend back the balls, rolled out the toilet paper, slide down the roll and have an escape. Obie was just making sure, and it wasn't until about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, remember Alice? This is a song about Alice. Alice came by and with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church, had ourselves another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat. Went to sleep and didn't get up till the next morning when we all had to go to court. We walked in and sat down. Obie came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one. Sat down. Man came in, said all rise. We all stood up. Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures. The judge walked in, sat down with the seeing eye dog, and he sat down. We sat down. Obie looked at the seeing eye dog. Then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one. Then at the seeing eye dog. Then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, and began to cry because Obie came to the realization that this was a typical case of American blind justice and there wasn't nothing he could do about it. The judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used in evidence against us, and we was both fined $50 and had to pick up the garbage in the snow, but that's not what I came to talk about. I came to talk about the draft. Got a building down New York City, it's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, you get injected, inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I went down to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in, sat down. Got good and drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best the following morning when I walked in. 'Cause I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to feel like Don. I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York City, and I walked in and sat down. I was hung down, brung down, hung up on all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I walked in and sat down, gave me a piece of paper, said, kid, I want you to see psychiatrist, room 604. I went up there, I said, Shrimp, I want to kill. Man, I want to kill. I want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth. Eat dead burn bodies, kill. And I started jumping up and down, yelling kill. And I started jumping up and down with me. And we was both jumping up and down, yelling kill. And the sergeant came over, put a medal on me, sent me down my hall, said, you're our boy. And you killed too, no doubt about it. Proceeded on down the hall, getting more injections, inspections, detections, and neglections, and all kinds of things that they was doing to me at the thing there. And I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long time, going through all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I was just having a tough time there. And they was injecting, inspecting every single part of me, and they wasn't leaving no part untouched. Proceeded on through, and when I finally came to the last man, I walked in, sat down after the whole big thing there. I walked up, said, what you want? I said, kid, we only got one question. Have you ever been arrested? And I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's restaurant, Master Creek, with full orchestration and 5-bar harmony and stuff like that, and awful enough, and he stopped me right there. I said, kid, did you ever go to court? And I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, and he stopped me right there. I said, kid, I want you to go sit on that bench and see these group W's. Now, kid! And I walked over to the bench there, and there's the group W's where they put you if you may not be wild enough to join the army for committing your special crime. And there was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on the bench there. Mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers just sitting there on the bench next to me. And one, he was mean and nasty and ugly and horrible, and crime-fighting guy just sitting there on the bench next to me. And the meanest, nastiest, ugliest one, the meanest father raper of them all, was coming over to me, and he was mean and nasty and ugly and horrible and all kinds of things. And he came over to me and sat down and said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage. He said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, on the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, until I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all came back, shook my hand. We had a great time on the bench there, talking about crime on the stamp, father rape, and all kinds of groovy things that we was talking about on the bench there, and everything was fine. We were smoking cigarettes, and the sergeant came in, had some paper in his hand, held it up and said, "Kids, this piece of paper's got 47 words, 37 sentences, 58 words. We want to know detail the crime, no crime, every kind of thing got to say down there about the crime. I was named on the arrest, every kind of thing got to say." And he talked for 45 minutes, and nobody understood a word that he said, but we had a great time filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the Master Creed with a 4-part harmony and wrote it down there just like it was. And everything was fine, and I put down the pencil, turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in parentheses, capital letters, quotated, read the following words: "Kid, you rehabilitated yourself." I went over to the sergeant and I said, "You got a lot of damn go asking me if I rehabilitated myself. I'm just sitting here on the bench, sitting here on the Group W bench, because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a little bug." And the sergeant looked at me and said, "Kid, we don't like your kind. We're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington and friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder as a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm telling you this here now is because you may know someone in a similar situation. Or you may be in a similar situation. And if you do find yourself in a situation like that, then there's only one thing that you can do. That's to walk up to the shrink, say, 'Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.' Walk out. You know, if just one person did it, they may think he's sick and they won't take him. And if two people did it, they may think they're both faggots and they won't take either of them.